Bob, just general, you getting ready to get started? What are your thoughts as you get another year going?
It's just, you know, it's different now because they give us the 4 hours a week, so we kind of got some preliminary stuff out of the way. We just been so banged up. I've never in however many years it's been had this many guys banged up. It's a good thing we got 15 guys.
So you want to give us an update, Brandon, on Lamont?
Brandon's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brandon's fine. Lamont, I think it'll just take him a little bit, I think, you know, to kind of get back in the groove, but he's fine. Those two guys are fine. Andrew's seemingly every 10 minutes he has to run over and rub his knee. Sags tweaked his a little bit. Beatles had all kind of stuff. Beatles, the latest one is he didn't tear him. He stretched, I guess, some ligaments in his hand. It was all small. It looked like a baseball signal. I think that's it. Till today, we'll probably get home today.
One guy you didn't mention was Issa, and I saw him in the hall the other day, and he looks phenomenal.
Yeah, he does.
What's he done to change his deal?
I think he realizes this is it. He's done a better job in the weight room. Sean's done a really good job, I think, with our guys really working their cores, you know, hard. And, he's been in the gym. He's been in the gym. He's been in the gym more than he's ever been in the gym. And consequently, he's playing better.
Based on what you got coming back and what you lost, could this be maybe similar to the way you played when you had Fortson and Kenyon with more perimeter oriented? You start looking at sets that way with the guys that you have, or is it too early to determine that yet?
I haven't seen Fortson and Kenyon down there yet.
It may be, but
I mean, you're talking about National Player of the Year and two-time first team All-American.
strength of your team is on paper interior, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's going to be advantageous for us. The Sags has put a lot of time in working on his jump shot for him to feel comfortable taking some jump shots. Obviously, Lamont and Wes are going to shoot jump shots. Issa shoots jump shots. I don't know that we'll have Derek Culver's learning. He did some nice things the other day. What was, I think, his best practice. But if you want to throw it to a freshman, right now to win games, I think we can. I think we're going to play pretty much the way we've been playing. Our strengths are numbers. We've got 15 guys. Logan gave up his scholarship so we could have more guys. And Tavon is walking on. And both of those guys they're competitive. We can throw a lot of people out. We just got to make sure we throw it to our team.
How are the guys with the ball? How have they been?
Well, I think it's good for them that Tariq was here, JC was here, Dax was here, Jay Sean was here. So they got a dose early on of the physicality of it, which they weren't used to, and the length that they weren't used to. So I think playing against those guys for a month and a half was very good for them. And I think they all understand that there's a lot of guys for a few spots, even though we plan on playing a bunch of people. Everybody kind of wants to jog out on that carpet, to start the game. So they didn't have the damn carpet when I was here. That's ridiculous.
They had it, they just didn't bring it out.
No, Jody didn't want the carpet.
Yeah. Hey, Hug, so is this health-wise, if you're healthy enough, will this be as close to the first year of when you pressed as far as your rotations, where you truly will use as many as 12 in a game?
Yeah, I think so. I think when we first started, we had Wani and Gary, and then brought JC and Dax in until Wani got hurt, Gary got hurt. But yeah, I think so. I think it'll be that way. Trick was in that group too, so that's 5 pretty good ones. They're learning. I mean, we've got some guys. Jordan McCabe is unbelievable. He has taken film and digested film as well as anybody that I've ever had. And he's busy. It's like, what do I got to do to be a good point guard? Well, you got to know who's coming open first, who's coming open second. If those two aren't open, who's coming open third? You can't just come down and just heave the ball to somebody. That's not being a very good point guard. And he's been really good. App's gotten better, I think, at it. He's not where Jordan is, but he's gotten better at it. But they've been for the most part, they've been really good about little things, that we got to get better transitional. As much as we run up and down, and as much as we got in transition, we're not a very good transition team. We got to get much better in transition.
You mentioned Issa, you mentioned Sean coming in, and Core, and that's something that I've heard he focuses a tremendous amount about. What's the rationale there? Why does he think that is so important?
Well, I think that's the deal now. That's where everything starts. That's where your explosion ultimately starts. That's where it all comes from. And honestly, I think him coming in with whatever it is, 8 years or 12 years or whatever it is of experience and coaching coaching the guys that he's coached in the NBA. I think our guys are like, wow, this guy was responsible for helping Paul Pierce be what he was. Those great Celtics. So credibility is a pretty important thing, particularly when you're doing stuff that you really don't want to do. I haven't had a whole lot of guys that just couldn't win to get away. A few, but not very many.
Coach, the 4 freshmen, Emmett and Trey, and you mentioned McCabe and Culver already. Any kind of sense that you can get at all on them, on their potential, what they could actually accomplish here? Is it too early to see any of that yet?
Well, obviously, Emmett's behind because he didn't get here. Not his fault. I mean, their school lasted until the summer was basically over, where those other guys were in here and playing, like I said, against the older guys. The older guys are great. They really compete against them, and then they sit down and they try to help them with whatever questions that they have about anything. And Emmett missed that. Trey's been kind of in and out a little bit. He had strep throat, something else, sprained ankle maybe or something. So he's not where those other guys are, quite frankly. And he may be as good an athlete as we have on the program.
On track.
Probably haven't taken one, really. That's just athletic.
Right.
Well, what do you think of your backcourt just in general? You got a couple of older guys, but you're going to have to play a lot of youth back there. What are you thinking of?
It's been hard without Beetle. Chase has been terrific, but then Chase just got hurt. Chase has been nursing a bad back. They just did a bunch of tests on him. He's gonna be out for a little while, I guess. That's about the only thing they can do with it. So those freshmen got a lot of attention in practice. Chase knows what he's doing. So Chase has been really good, and he's put time in, and he's making open shots. I mean, that's what we need those guys to do. They don't have to create a lot of shots. They just have to make open ones. I think we've got some guys that will create shots for them. At least right now, they're making shots. Hopefully that carries on. They're shooting pretty well right now.
Bob, what's the difference now in freshmen between now and 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when they come in?
Accessibility.
To
Well, to coaches. We were 20 years ago. We weren't allowed to be around. 20 years ago, they had, when it was a dead period, they weren't allowed to come in the office and say hello. We weren't allowed to walk past them and say hello. It's come a long way in terms of accessibility, and we've been as coaches for years saying, you want us to be responsible, but we're not allowed to be around them. It's hard to take responsibility if something happens when you're not allowed to talk to the guy. And so all that's changed, and they're more accessible to coaches now. Everybody goes to summer school now. Before, guys didn't go to summer school. I mean, when I was here, you only went to summer school if you had to maintain your eligibility. If you got good grades in that, you weren't going to summer school. And you went home. And these guys now, it's a 12-month-a-year deal for them. I mean, they're here and trying to learn. And I think it's a good thing.
are they more mature, more ready to play by the time you get them?
No, I don't think so.
Even with all the AAU and all that? Or does that work against them?
I don't want to say I'm not an AAU fan, but Bob, I had a guy, Keith Greger at Cincinnati, and I said to Keith played on. They were the summer champions of AAU basketball. They had a heck of a team, and I said, "Did you enjoy your summer?" He said, "Coach, it was okay." He said, "But the truth is, we beat people so bad that I only played about a quarter and a half." And he said, "You got there's no gym because all the gyms they're playing in, so you can't go in and get shots up and work on your game. You can't lift because you have to have supervision in the weight room, and so you end up eating McDonald's and laying on the bed and watching TV all day." And he said, "I just thought I would have been a whole lot better served to stay home and work on my game than I would be do that." And that I started thinking about that, and I don't think guys learn how to play as well, Bob, as they did. For all the good that a lot of this stuff has done there, it's like anything else. It creates good, but then the residual effect is it creates some bad things too. I went to the playground when I was really young because I was just bigger, bigger and stronger than kids my age, and I'd go play with the college guys, and I figured out real quick. You throw the ball to the best player. You screen for the best player. You try like heck to get a rebound, even though you probably can't. But we had guys on the playground that were the best players on the playground. I threw the ball to them every time, so consequently they picked me. So instead of sitting over there, I got to play. And you think guys in AAU have learned that? They didn't. They're worried about their next shot. They're not
Well, it's just hard to get them to throw the ball.
Yeah, and you know, you play a game at 10 o'clock in the morning and you lose, and you know, you go get 2 quarter pounders, a milkshake, and large fries, and you eat that, and then you go back at 2 and lose again, and now you go back and, you know, get a pizza. Eat
It's a
that
week's worth
pizza,
of food
and
right there.
then you go play the 3rd game of the day and get whacked again, you know.
What do you get after that game?
Couple
Ice
of
cream?
years.
What do you get after that?
Dessert, right?
Oh no, they feed them. Probably I don't know what they probably Chick-fil-A or something. Or a big burrito or something. But it's different, you know. Before you had to go to the playground, you had to win to stay out there playing, and so losing meant something. Losing doesn't mean anything now. Everybody's they're getting beat, and getting patted on the rump, and I got to get in the van. We're gonna go eat.
How does Jermaine Haley fit the picture? How many different positions can you play in that?
Well, probably we can play him at point. We can play him off the ball on the wing. His skill level is good. His skill level is good. He's you know he's got to tighten some things up, and he needs to get a little tougher, quite frankly. But you know, I think he wants to play bad enough. I think he will. He's a talented guy. He's got size. He's got length.
How do you change coaching-wise from having them for 2 hours twice a week to now it's for real? You take a little bit of a wait and look approach during those preseason workouts and now you go?
Well, I've changed a lot, believe it or not. I before I'd have been down there every second, you know, and I haven't been. I've kind of sat up there and taken notes and seeing the things that some guys were doing well and some things that guys needed to work on. You can see so much more from up there. You can kind of see everything kind of come together than you can down on the floor level. And I do think too that I think sometimes hearing the same voice for 12 months out of the years, they kind of tune you out. They trick you, like act like they're listening, but they're not. And so they've heard Ronnie and Larry and Eric. They really haven't heard me. So I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, Friday's for real. We don't have a whole lot of time to get ready. And the Penn State thing's going to be great for us. And it'll be particularly great if we get 10,000 people in here. And, those guys get to play in front of people. I had Corey Blum play 13 years in the NBA. He was a junior college guy. We had Midnight Madness back then. And we had a nice crowd, you know, and all that. He was horrible. I mean, just absolutely horrible. I said, what is wrong with you? He said, Coach, man, all these people in here. I mean, we might have had 6,000 or 7,000 people. The seat's 13. I said, well, there's going to be about another 6 or 7 in here the first game. He said, Coach, I'm scared, man. He's a guy who's a very talented guy. I think, you know, it's a whole lot different walking out there in front of 1,000 people in high school and walking out there and you got 14-1 and they're turning the lights out and, you know, turning their cell phones on and different. A lot different. And the stakes are higher.
I'm sorry. Interrupt. What do you think of your front court? Obviously, you compared your back court, a lot more experience up front.
I mean, I think our front court could play with anybody. We get Sags back at 100%. We got Sags. Logan gave us really good minutes a year ago. Derek Culver's 6'10", 260, and might be the fastest guy on our team. So you got those 3 guys, and then Issa and Lamont and Wes have a lot of experience. And they're not gonna get nervous because there's people in the stands, and they've played in some really, really difficult places to play, which every place in our league is. Yeah, and then you know, you got the young guys you can try to work in there. But those guys dominate practice. They just absolutely dominate practice. They dominate over the
Derek, a center, a forward, a small forward, what does he ultimately play?
Derek Colvin.
Yeah.
We don't really play with the center. I mean, we Zag's kind of because he blocks shots, and Derek would be in the back of the press, but he's going to catch that on the perimeter. I think he could develop into. He's got good feet. He just doesn't know how to use them. And he does the same thing every time. You got to get him to have a little better repertoire than that. But good talented guy.
How's he with his back in the basket?
Lost.
I would say they don't play that way.
Of course, he's lost facing it too. So.
Double threat.
He thinks he's a good passer. I don't know how in the hell you can throw it out of bounds and think it's a good pass.
About the this is a different sport, but you have some clout with rules nowadays. Have you paid attention to that red shirt rule for football and playing 4 games? And is there a place for it in basketball?
I just saw a guy at Oklahoma State played 4 games and then transferred.
Right.
That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. Here's what I think, Mike. I think we have put so much emphasis on individual rights that we really don't give a damn about the rest of them. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you make one person more important than, how many do they have? 100?
100 and something.
100 and something? I mean, how can one person be more important than all? I don't get that. I don't get how one guy could be more important than 12 other guys. I don't get that. I've always been told that, your individual rights stop when you start infringing on other people's. And we keep getting later and later and later with being able to withdraw. So now you sit there and if you hold a scholarship and a guy doesn't come back, now you've really cheated those guys that are there. And if you give the scholarship away and the guy unexpectedly comes back, now you're a bad guy because you gave the scholarship away, and now you're over, and so then you get penalized 2 scholarships the next year. I don't know how that helps. I don't know how that helps.
The initial point though was to give players that chance to develop and not blow that whole red shirt.
And we shouldn't let them leave.
Okay, but in a perfect world, if they do tighten up that loophole, does it make sense in basketball where you can play a certain number of games or up to a certain point in the season, and if you're not going to play the final 25 games, why should you waste a year playing maybe 30 total minutes in 5 games?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure. By the time we go through the preseason stuff and we get ready to play, now, in our game, generally speaking, now we haven't done that this year, but generally speaking, you play. The first 2 or 3 games you're supposed to win. If you just play okay, you're going to win. So you can play those guys. We haven't done that with Buffalo. We haven't done that. They're good. But I think that'd be all right. But I think then what you would see is you're going to play people that aren't the caliber of Buffalo, for instance. You're going to play people that they don't have a chance to beat you. Now you can go ahead and play those guys for whatever it is, 4 games or 5 games or whatever, and let them get some experience if that's it. But I mean, how much does that really help? I don't know how much that helps.
You have 2 guys on your team that's redshirted, Needle and Lamont, right? And the other 2 that's redshirted.
Needle and Lamont,
So you haven't really done it that much anyway.
We
Through the
read,
years.
with our numbers, John, it's hard.
What?
You start thinking about it, so now, okay, we got 13 guys, and now let's say you want to redshirt 2 guys. We redshirt Lamont just because Lamont was so skinny, and me and Beetle got hurt, but we probably would have redshirted him anyways. So now you're down to 11 guys, and you get 2 guys hurt, you can't even practice. You know, you're throwing a manager or somebody in there to practice. That's hard.
Throw another one at you that's hard. You're not doubling up this year like you have in the past on road games. So you're crossing time zone 9 times this year in conference. Obviously, you've thought about that. Your peers, do they understand what you guys go through because you're losing coming back where the other teams are gaining coming here?
Well, I can say this, I think I'd have a heck of a lot better chance convincing my peers than I have the schedule makers. I mean, those guys talk about how hard it is to come one time to Morgantown, you know? And here we are going 9 times out there. And it's rough. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. It's rough. And I don't what's so hard about it? What's so hard about, and not to mention, John, the missed class time, you know? Tony knows, he goes with us. I mean, we get back at 4 o'clock in the morning. By the time you get home and put your stuff away, you're looking at 5 o'clock in the morning, and now all of a sudden you've got an 8 o'clock class. That's hard. I don't care who you are, that's hard. You know, and then now we have flex days. You can't travel on flex day. You can't travel, you can't tell them to go to study hall, that's like their day, and you can't like influence anything that happens that day. Flex days. Now you add in, okay, we got the mandatory day that we can't practice, and then we got these flex days that we have to work in somewhere in there. It's hard. It's hard, and I've said it for how long. I say that the NCAA deal, all for the betterment of the student athlete. Are you kidding me? How is that the betterment of the student athlete? You know, to get home at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning during the school day. That's hard. And the wear and tear on them is rough. And, you know, there's a better chance of injury. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. And I don't get how it's that hard to schedule that. I mean, I know what it is. You know what it is. TV tells them who they want to play on what day and when. But I mean, at some point in time, you got to stand up and say, no, man, we can't do that to our kids.
How do you think your team is held up generally at the end of the season, going through that? I mean, you've done it now since you've been in the league. You're going to do it one more time than you have.
Some years better than others, honestly. I mean, we shouldn't have lost to Stephen in Boston. We were as sluggish and slow. But if you remember, I said that the whole week. The whole week we weren't getting anything done, and they were like not there. There was another time. There was one other time. It's a lot harder than what anybody thinks it is. And now, and not to mention, now you're 6'8", 6'9", and you're 260 pounds, and we're back to flying all first class seats. But think about those guys sitting in them seats. I can't get my behind in them seats. They're way wider than I am. It's hard, man. It's so much harder than what people realize.
Hey, Huggis, press-wise, from what you have seen up top watching, what's your initial perception as to the pressing ability of this team? With no JC, with no Dax, and smaller guards.
Well, I mean, obviously, we lose a lot of ball pressure, losing those 2 guys in particular. We lose a lot of ball pressure. But I don't know if they're going to let us pressure the ball anyway. I mean, how many times have they called fouls whenever the offensive guy runs into us? You know, so we're going to continue to do it because I think we can dictate tempo better that way. But then you get into what John was talking about. Now, you know, you go play wherever you go play, and then you fly back in, and you can't practice the day you get back in because you got back in so late, and now you got one day to prepare for whomever. I mean, it's like us playing on the road and then coming back and playing Monday. We can't do anything on Sunday. You go in there and you look at film and you take them out and you walk through what they're going to do, and that's it. And our game is a game of repetition. You know, it's neuromuscular memory. And if you don't continue to do it every day, the hard part about coaching is trying to do the same thing every day and not let them know they're doing the same thing every day. You're working on the same thing, you just do it in a different way so that they don't lose interest. But when you can't do any of that, you know, people talk about game slippage, how about travel slippage?
Did you ever seek like an explanation or anything from the Big 12 on why they couldn't give you those 2 games in the beginning of January? Or, and they just smile or what? What are they?
No, they don't smile.
I always thought that was a given.
No, it's not. It's not a given. But you know, when I asked for it, there was only one coach that said, "Well, you know, doesn't that give you an advantage?" The rest of them said that's probably the right thing to do. And the one that said that, he was only there for 1 year and then he was gone. And I have invited them to go with us. You know, fly with us. None of them take me up. But I have invited them to, you know, to really get a good feel of what it really is like. You know, no takers.
You know, the only thing I could think that's similar to this is Hawaii. But Hawaii is actually going, I guess they would gain going back because their time zone's failing them.
Hawaii is totally different. I mean, I hate going to Hawaii. I mean, that's why we haven't gone. I hate that trip.
But their trips, their travel is, you know, it's just different. I know Seth Greenberg said last year, he said you had the toughest schedule of anybody in the country. Just the way your league's set up.
We do, and then we've played a very representative non-conference schedule, and that if you really look and analyze the schedule for this year, I mean, our RPI is going to be off the charts if we can win some of these.
Conceivably, you could have a great RPI and be right around 500.
We could. That's conceivable. Now that we're not using just the RPI.
Yeah, the BPI and
They're all some form or another. The segment takes into account point spread.
Did you already have your first rules committee meeting? I know that.
I just got the what was the mess indoctrination. Art read the rules to me.
all of
It was kind of like, you know, I follow along.
them? Did you go through them all?
He went, I don't need to go through all, but he went through most of them.
With Purdue close scrimmage and Penn State, is this the best exhibitions that you've played before the start of the season?
Yeah, no disrespect to Alderson Brothers, but playing Penn State is.
Well, 2 Power 5s.
I can't talk about the one. Penn State's got a couple starters back. They've got a 6-man back that average 12 a game. They play in the Power 5 conference. Actually won the NIT a year ago.
Give you different styles too, right?
Yeah, I don't think they want to play as fast as we do.
Yeah.
Skip Prosser told me one time, he said, you know, the older I get, the faster I want to play. I said, that's because you're not playing. Skip, you're sitting over there. But, you know, now I'm kind of the same way. I think let's try to play a whole bunch of possessions.
Coach, the new RPI, the net thing, or whatever, the coaching committee had a good say in that creation. Didn't it?
Yeah, I was on the committee.
Right, that's, I mean, what kind of input, you know, I mean, what is this thing?
Well,
Exactly, do you like it, or?
As much as I hate to give Mark Few any credit, it was probably more his idea from the beginning. And what he said was, if you would take 5 metrics and combine them together rather than just one, the seating would have been drastically different, and in his mind, more fair. And I think when you look at it, I think that's probably right. You know, it is right. That's why we went to. See, then the hard thing is, well, then you got to go to Princeton, and they got to crunch numbers and come back and say, well, no, this isn't going to be, or you know, that ain't going to be. And so it was a lot harder than what you would think it would be. But you know, Justin, honestly, that part of it is way easier than the seating, because you have all these rules that you have to follow.
Right.
If you just seated everybody 1 through whatever it is now, 68. 1 through 68, that'd be easy. But you can't play a team in your own conference. You can't. The number 1 seed gets to pick where they want to play. You know, it's like and you know, because you were a part of it. We played Kentucky the year that we get drilled, and they were way better than us. But they played Saturday at noon in Louisville. You know,
You played
okay,
Sunday.
yeah, and it was less than 500 miles. You got a bus, so we played in Cleveland or Columbus, whichever one it was, and so we got a bus there, and then we ended up playing Sunday night, the last game, and we were in the locker room still. Those guys were in getting dressed well after 1 o'clock, way closer to 1:30 in the morning. Now we got to go out and get on a bus. And if it was Columbus, it's 200 miles. So it's about 200 miles from Cleveland too, either way. Now you got to ride 200 miles with Arnold. Then no one should have to do that.
Where does common sense come back into this? I mean, you know, analytics has taken over sports. It's made baseball unbearable. Your sports get into that. Where does common sense come back into this?
Analytics haven't taken over sports. Television has.
I mean, you read. I mean, it's incessant now. All the different stats and things. And,
Yeah, but most people don't pay attention.
You got that in your sport.
You got to, but you got to pay attention when they tell you got to play at 9 o'clock. You know, on like us, you know, okay, the game's supposed to start at 9. Well, the game didn't start at 9, and then it was a really, I thought, really a good basketball game, but time-consuming game. Guys got banged up a little bit, and all of a sudden we're out of there at 1:30 in the morning. But yet, John, even at that, you still have to go to the press conference. They can't say, "No, I want to get on a bus and go." You know, I mean, you could write it out, you know, mail it in.
You got Emmett pretty late in the recruiting process. Just talk about how you got him and how Jordan McCabe's relationship with him helped bring him to Morgantown.
Jordan knows everybody. Jordan knows everyone. Jordan talked to him, and actually Jordan lived out there before they moved to Wisconsin, so they were familiar with each other. Actually, the families were familiar with each other. Eric did a great job with him. Eric Mark did a great job with him.
Any truth to the rumor that Calhoun got back into coaching just so he could stay ahead of you and wins?
I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'd say enough stupid stuff to myself.
Anything
Twitter wants to know, Jordan McCabe defensively, is he gonna be able to play the way you want to get on the floor? Is he gonna handle it the way you need it to be handled?
He's gonna give it his absolute best effort. I mean, we've had guys that weren't the best defenders play before. It's kind of give and take. It's like I still teach Deshaun now. I mean, Deshaun would screw stuff up, and he would come over, and he's yelling at everybody else and talking. And now I can't even say anything because he never shut up. He did it on purpose. You know, everybody kind of has their own kind of niche. Jordan can make shots, and Jordan can pass the ball. And he'll work it hard. He'll get better. The harder you work at it, the better you're going to get at it. Look at those guys who came in. I mean, Dax came in. I don't know if Dax had ever even tried to guard against anybody before he got here. And Gary Brown, Lonnie, Legal. They work at it. And Jordan will work at it. Jordan will put the time in without question. He's put an enormous amount of time in. You understand some of that? You looked at the YouTube stuff. When he was on Ellen DeGeneres and all that.
Some. You just answered the Twitter questions, though. Everybody wanted to know that, so you're
What, Ellen DeGeneres?
No, Jordan McCabe.
I told him the other day, I said, you know, Sean Miller was on Johnny Carson. I happened to get the guy who was on Ellen DeGeneres.
I remember that, Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson.
His dad used to do the ball handling stuff and all that. I remember that in camps.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.